the most touching reasons someone has come back into your life years later? 3 weeks ago, at like 2 a.m., while I was doom scrolling instead of sleeping as one does, I got a notification. James Carter wanted to be friends. The profile pic showed a guy with a scruffy beard standing next to a motorcycle, and for a hot second, I couldn't place him. Then it hit me like a truck. James was the guy who donated his bone marrow to my brother Ethan 6 years ago. For those who don't know how bone marrow donation works, it's not like normal organ donation where your family members are usually the donors. It's all about genetic matching, and only about 30% of patients find matches within their family. Ethan was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 19, and none of us matched. We all got tested. Me, my parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, but nada. The doctors put him on the national registry, and we basically just had to wait and pray. 3 months later, they found a match. Some random dude named James from 2 states away who'd apparently signed up for the registry at a community drive years earlier. He didn't even remember signing up, he told us later. Just checked a box while giving blood because why not? The donation process is pretty intense. They have to inject you with drugs for days to stimulate your bone marrow, then extract it through these massive needles in your hip bones. Hurts like a bitch, according to James when we briefly met him at the hospital, but he just shrugged and said it was worth it if it helped someone. Ethan got better. The transplant worked. He finished college, met a girl, got a job. All the normal life stuff that wouldn't have happened without James's cells. We sent thank you cards and updates through the donation program for the first couple years. But they have these privacy rules that keep donors and recipients somewhat separated. Eventually, the updates stopped. Life got busy. We were grateful, but James became this abstract concept rather than a real person in our minds. And now here he was, sending me a friend request at 2 a.m. I accepted it immediately and messaged him. You awake? The typing bubble appeared instantly. James explained he'd been thinking about Ethan recently and wondered how he was doing. The donation program no longer forwarded updates after 5 years. So he'd done some light social media stalking, his words, and found me. Hope that's not creepy. He wrote, I sent him pics of Ethan at his wedding last summer. James's response was just a string of shocked face emojis, followed by holy shit, he looks so healthy. We messaged back and forth for almost 2 hours. I told him everything. How Ethan had graduated with honors, how he was working, how he and his wife were talking about having kids soon. James seemed genuinely thrilled with each update, asking questions about Ethan's life like he was catching up with an old friend instead of essentially a stranger. Then around 4 a.m., James's tone changed. He asked if Ethan still lived in the same city. When I said yes, he told me he was moving there next month. He'd gotten a job offer he couldn't refuse, his words again, but there was more to it. He said he'd been going through some heavy shit lately and needed a fresh start. That's when he dropped the bomb. His girlfriend of 8 years, Sophia, had died in a car accident 11 months ago. He'd spiraled badly afterward, drinking, isolating, nearly lost his job. Rock bottom came when his sister Emily found him unconscious in his apartment after he'd mixed alcohol with his anxiety meds. Not intentionally, he clarified quickly, but recklessly enough that it scared him straight. In his darkest moment, he kept thinking about Ethan, this guy he'd never really known but had literally given part of himself to save. If Ethan could fight through leukemia and build a beautiful life, maybe James could survive this too. That's when he started looking for job openings in our city. I was ugly crying by this point, over text, with a virtual stranger who wasn't actually a stranger at all. The next morning, I called Ethan and told him everything. He sat silent for a long time, then asked for James's number. I'm not privy to their conversation, but Ethan called me back 2 hours later, sounding like he'd been crying too. James is moving here next month. Ethan and his wife Laura are helping him find an apartment. We're planning a whole welcome dinner with my parents and Ethan's in-laws. My mom's already stress baking like she does when she's emotionally overwhelmed.